I've always believed that success is the best revenge. After finishing law school and building my legal practice from the ground up, I treated myself to the ultimate reward: a bright yellow Lamborghini Aventador. Sure, some people found it a bit flashy, but for me, it symbolized every case I fought and won, every sleepless night studying statutes, and every client I helped protect. My name is Marcus Ellison, and 2 years ago, I moved into Crestwood Hills, a picturesque and prestigious neighborhood known for its manicured lawns, tight-knit community events, and a homeowners association that acted like a blend of city council, judge, and sheriff all rolled into one. Crestwood was ideal, just a short 15-minute drive from my downtown office and filled with charm. Most of the neighbors were welcoming when I moved in, bringing baked goods and recommending local shops. But there was one exception: Eleanor Prescott. Eleanor, who insisted everyone call her Ellie, had been the self-proclaimed guardian of Crestwood's values for over a decade as the president of the HOA. A woman in her mid-60s with a bleached blonde bob and designer tracksuits. She was rarely seen without her tiny, high-strung chihuahua named Princess. Our first interaction was telling. She approached me one morning as I collected my mail and remarked, "We usually like to keep things tasteful around here," her gaze lingering on my tailored suit and the vibrant Lamborghini parked in the driveway. "I agree," I said with a measured smile. "That's why I moved here. Beautiful neighborhood." Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "Some of the neighbors have expressed concern. Your vehicle is rather loud. A more neutral color might be more appropriate." I understood the code. She wasn't talking about the car's color, not really. I'd met people like Eleanor before. People who spoke in innuendo to mask their biases. "The car's color is factory standard," I responded evenly. "And, as you probably know, the HOA bylaws regulate house paint, not vehicles." Article 8, Section 2. Her nostrils flared slightly. "Well, we may need to revisit those bylaws." "You're welcome to try." What Eleanor didn't realize was that I specialized in property law, with a particular interest in cases involving HOA overreach. I had already read the community bylaws before moving in and mentally highlighted all the clauses that wouldn't hold up under legal scrutiny. This was going to be interesting. Over the following months, Eleanor waged a subtle campaign against me. Complaints about my trash bins, citations for imaginary noise violations, passive-aggressive notes about lawn care. Each time, I responded with precise, respectful legal rebuttals. I knew it infuriated her that I played by the rules better than she did. Things escalated when I decided to extend my driveway to accommodate a second car. I submitted all necessary paperwork, received approval from the HOA Architectural Committee, and scheduled the work while most neighbors were away at a charity golf event. When I returned from work the Monday after construction, Eleanor stood on my porch, Princess in hand and a clipboard tucked under her arm. "This extension violates Article 10. "Actually, it doesn't," I said, handing her a copy of the approval letter signed by the committee chair. Her face flushed with barely concealed rage. The real turning point came during a 2-week business trip to Chicago. I left my house in the care of my cousin Anthony, a doctoral student staying in my guest room. The Lamborghini was scheduled for maintenance and the dealership was to collect it the day after I left. But due to a scheduling hiccup, the pickup was delayed a week. 3 days into my trip, Anthony called me in a panic. "Marcus, the Lambo's gone." "What?" I thought maybe the dealership picked it up early, but they didn't. I asked around and Eleanor told me she had it towed. Claimed it was abandoned. I was speechless. She even gave me a receipt. Said the HOA has a bylaw about removing abandoned property after 72 hours. "That's absurd," I said, my voice tight. "There is no such bylaw. And a covered vehicle on private property doesn't qualify as abandoned under any legal standard." I instructed Anthony to scan all documents she gave him and check for any security footage from neighbors' doorbell cameras. He was on it. Then I flew home. Back in Crestwood, I gathered my evidence. The Johnsons across the street had captured Eleanor orchestrating the tow truck's arrival, pointing and gesturing animatedly. The fake bylaw she cited? Entirely fabricated. Worse, Anthony tracked down the Byera, Pennsylvania dealership that had paid her $150,000 in cash. I reached out to a contact in the auto theft division, Detective Gene Park, and shared everything. "Marcus, she's committed multiple felonies here: grand theft, fraud, misrepresentation. You name it." Gene verified the sale and secured the vehicle. Meanwhile, I confronted Eleanor with a calm but firm visit to her home. Anthony accompanied me, phone recording audio. She greeted us with her usual smugness, but her composure quickly crumbled as I presented document after document debunking her lies. I outlined the charges she could face and offered her a choice: sign a confession, resign from the HOA, and repay the money with additional damages or face full prosecution. Eleanor snapped. She hurled accusations, heirloom vases, and bigoted slurs in equal measure. When she began hyperventilating and claiming we were trying to kill her, I called 911. Police and paramedics arrived. Eleanor barricaded herself in the bathroom, eventually emerging with a garden trowel. Officers gently subdued her and escorted her to a psychiatric facility for evaluation. Later, Detective Park informed me that Eleanor had confessed everything to a psychiatrist. How she plotted the car's removal, fabricated bylaws, and pocketed the cash. Her mental state led to a court-ordered evaluation, and her daughter, Emily, a kind and apologetic woman, flew in to take care of her affairs. Emily quickly returned the stolen funds with an additional $50,000 in damages. She also helped push for a new HOA election, encouraging me to take a leadership role. Weeks later, I stood before my neighbors as the unopposed new president of the HOA, introducing revised bylaws that emphasized fairness, transparency, and anti-discrimination protections. We also launched a scholarship fund in Eleanor's name, ironic, perhaps, but focused on civil rights law students from underrepresented backgrounds. My Lamborghini was returned, gleaming in the sun, as the neighborhood gathered for our first multicultural festival. A celebration of new beginnings. Eleanor had tried to control Crestwood through intimidation and bias, but in the end, she empowered a transformation she could never have foreseen. Sometimes karma doesn't knock. It roars in behind the wheel of a bright yellow Lamborghini. I've always believed that success is the best revenge. After finishing law school and building my legal practice from the ground up, I treated myself to the ultimate reward: a bright yellow Lamborghini Aventador. Sure, some people found it a bit flashy, but for me, it symbolized every case I fought and won, every sleepless night studying statutes, and every client I helped protect. My name is Marcus Ellison, and 2 years ago, I moved into Crestwood Hills, a picturesque and prestigious neighborhood known for its manicured lawns, tight-knit community events, and a homeowners association that acted like a blend of city council, judge, and sheriff all rolled into one. Crestwood was ideal, just a short 15-minute drive from my downtown office and filled with charm. Most of the neighbors were welcoming when I moved in, bringing baked goods and recommending local shops. But there was one exception: Eleanor Prescott. Eleanor, who insisted everyone call her Ellie, had been the self-proclaimed guardian of Crestwood's values for over a decade as the president of the HOA. A woman in her mid-60s with a bleached blonde bob and designer tracksuits. She was rarely seen without her tiny,